Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Ring the Bell. This is your host, Amelia Pitbull Chapman. I'm going to say co-host because I'm used to saying co-host. And my co-host for the evening is Michael Armageddon Murphy. How are you doing, Michael?
I'm good, Amelia. It's great to be back. How are you doing?
Good, good, good. And of course, we have Angelo Mad Dog.
That's me.
He's going to be also on the show tonight. But if you can call him Mad Dog, but y'all better leave both of these guys alone because I am going to be the pit bull and I'm going to. Right, exactly. We're going to be speaking tonight about Chris Benoit, murder, suicide, but I think it's murder. It was brought to us by popular demand to talk on that subject tonight. What do you think about that, Michael?
Yes, definitely. From what I've read and looked into the case of it, definitely murder without a doubt. I don't think it was a murder-suicide whatsoever.
Yeah, I think so too, because like you said, there's a lot of interesting twists and turns, a lot of questions people have brought up about this, and I think I'm gonna say murder as well. What about you, Angela? What do you think?
Oh, boy, it's a loaded question. I just start off with the easy one, right? I have a kind of an interesting viewpoint. I first of all, a murder did take place, but I don't believe for 1 minute that it was a murder suicide. I have taken the position for the last 10, 11 years that this is at least the last 10, 12 years, that this is a hit of some sort. I believe whoever killed Chris and Daniel and Nancy, I believe they knew what they were doing. I believe Chris knew who they were. Nobody forced anybody to go into that house. Somebody was let in, purposely let in, or they had the key, or they were real good and they knew what they were doing. Breaking and entering is an art form, but once you know how to do it, it's very, very easy to do.
Or they could have been welcomed in as well.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Whoever I think whoever did it, I think Chris Benoit knew it.
Right.
I think they knew them.
Oh, definitely.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to do something right here at the beginning. Oh, I'm go ahead, Murph. I'll save my surprise for later. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, one of the things that was found was, and from what I've gathered from the evidence that we've read and looked over, there was no forced entry, which means they didn't have to force a way in, which tells me that they either knew the person or, it was a close friend, someone. It was someone they knew.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
In this case, it's been talked about for the past, it's 18 years. Can you believe it? And we're still talking about this case because
I said that, Murph and I talked about this, Amelia, before you joined us this evening. And we were talking about this. I said, people are talking about the Kennedy assassination 61 years later.
Correct.
We're going to be talking about the Benoit case 30, 40 years from now.
Oh, absolutely. Until it's solved, at least.
Unless someone on their deathbed says, I'm the guy that did it. If somebody doesn't say that, you're looking at Lee Harvey Oswald all over again.
Oh, yes.
Because I don't think he did it either.
On the other hand, how many mobsters on their deathbed have claimed to be the one to kill Jimmy Hoffa?
About 5 we know of.
Right.
No, I'm not.
And they're not, and they're probably going to keep coming forward.
I'm being totally serious. About 5 that we know of claimed that they killed Hoffa.
Jeez.
And I'm not talking about like 5 nobodies. I'm talking about 5 high-ranking people said that they killed Jimmy Hoffa. One guy, Michael Franchese, claims to know where Hoffa's body was and how they did it. But then again, so does Johnny Russo.
Right.
He's another guy who says he knows how Hoffa died and where his body went and and where it was transported. But everybody who thinks they know is going to say they think they know.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Here's the thing, though. They're not going to say I think. They're going to say this is what happened. Wrong as they may be. We don't do that here. That's not what we do here. We can speculate all day long. And if we find the conclusion, we say it. And if we don't find the conclusion, guess what? It's just speculation.
Correct.
Yep.
But at least it's going to be educated speculation because we do our homework here.
All right. And if you show photos, we're going to be looking at those photos with every little thing we can. Even we're going to get the microscope, everything we can to even look at those photos, every little inch of it.
We're going to do everything we can to be as fair and complete and honest and transparent as we possibly can. Remember, there's a lot of information out there. I mean, there's so much information about the Benoit case.
Yes.
You have to really kind of put your waiter boots on and walk through the muck and mire and piles of shit to sort out the truth from the caca.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Mike Murphy and I know because we've already done this already. A couple of times, in fact.
We've looked into this, and we've gone up and down, backwards, sideways, front to back. And every time, and I've said this before, every time we walk or jump down that rabbit hole, it gets deeper and dirtier.
Yeah, I've even, I saw the shows.
Mike, you know what? Sorry, Amelia, but Mike, he triggered a question. You've said that before, and I've heard that before. What is it about this case that won't go away? Why does it just keep getting dirtier and more convoluted? What is it? Explain to me. What is it about this, Crispin? Are we that passionate, or do we want to be the one to solve it? Or both?
Well, I think what it was is when this happened back in 2007.
Right.
It was on. It came out. Everybody was up in arms about. Oh, he couldn't have done this. He couldn't have done that. Did he do it? Didn't he do it? Well, how long was the investigation? That kind of thing. And most people figured, well, this will go away in a month or two. Well, here it is, 18 years later.
And we're still talking
years later.
Yeah, exactly. We're still talking about it.
And we're still talking about it.
Yeah.
And the reason we're still talking about it is because something in this case isn't right. Something
That's
about
the bottom line.
Just doesn't make sense.
That's the bottom line. It doesn't make sense. It's too convoluted. It's too complex. Here's the biggest thing, though, Mike. I think you'll agree. It's too contradictory.
Yes.
But here's the thing, Amelia. And if you've read, and I'm sure you have, I know you've got a stack of papers like this in front of you.
Right.
If you've read this, you know that 3 agencies are working on this, and 3 agencies are saying 3 different things.
Exactly.
You've got the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. You've got the Fayette County, Georgia Sheriff Department saying something else. Then you've got individual investigators, learned people,
right,
saying something completely different. But those people are leaning toward us, the investigators, the private detectives, the armchair detectives. But I'm talking about the professionals
right,
that are getting paid for this. Believe it or not, you guys, they're leaning more toward our way of thinking. They say the same thing that I said today. Somebody wanted to put a nice little bow on this, put it back on the shelf, and hope nobody would notice that the package was opened.
Exactly.
You understand, Murphy, when I said that to you earlier?
Angelo, that's the problem right there. Okay, he did it. He came home, or he did it. He killed him. Roid rage, yada, yada, yada. End of story. No, I'm sorry. That's too neat. It's too clean, and it's too easy. There are too many unanswered questions.
Amelia.
Yes.
How long Try to remember back, because I'm going to ask, and I know that Murphy knows the answer. How long did the Chris Benoit case make the news when it happened?
How long did it make the news? From what I remember, as soon as I think after, for me, I remember hearing it as soon as it happened a few hours later.
No, but how long did it? What I'm getting at is, how long did the news cover it?
Not very long, actually. It's like a couple of days, maybe a day or so, and that was it. It was over and done with.
You're not far, Murph. How long did the news cover it?
I'd say about a week, maybe two.
Because
a week and a half. No, because I knew Mike would know the answer because he and I talked about this before. The mainstream news covered the Benoit alleged murder-suicide for 11 days, a week and a half, not even a full 2 weeks, a week and a half. So Murph was right there in the middle. Okay?
Yep.
But you saying a day or two, guess what? You may as well said 2 weeks because they didn't give it much coverage at all.
They didn't. That's how much I feel that's how much they did the investigation, and they just wrapped up and left.
Well, that's because like I said, somebody wanted this thing. Somebody took a package off the shelf.
Yeah, open and shut.
They opened up the package. They took out what they wanted from the inside of the package. They put the box back together. They put the wrap on. Okay. Nice and neat. They put the bow on it and they put it back on the shelf.
Right.
Look, I stole the package, but there's nothing in there. Nobody knows that but me because I have it in my pocket. Okay. And you want to know why I didn't want to do a wrestling show? Because this is the kind of shit that happens.
And I think too, during the investigation, there was too many people walking in and out that they missed a lot of evidence. I feel that, and I know that in my heart that they did.
Well, see, here's the question I have.
Here you go. Look at this.
And here's
Here you go, Mike.
Questions that I have.
Look at this, Mike. Leon Barfield is in the Leon Barfield. He's in the chat room with us, Mike. He's one of our loyal show guys here. It was on the news.
Leon?
And Leon's a big wrestling fan. It was on the news 2 days where he is. Okay. He says, I've talked to people in the business who blame Kevin Sullivan. Kevin had nothing to do with this.
Yep.
I think Chris went nuts and did it acting alone. Well, Leon, I appreciate that, but I don't think Kevin Sullivan had anything to do with it, quite frankly.
No.
Michael, go ahead. Continue what you were saying, my friend.
Okay, like I was saying, there's too many questions that need to be answered that I have personally. And I'm going to throw a couple of them out there. You know, maybe the listeners or the viewers can give some insight.
There you go.
Question number one. Chris Benoit was a basically Olympic caliber athlete. Could choke you out like that.
Great.
So why were Nancy's hands and feet bound? Why were her hands and feet bound? It's her husband. He doesn't have to tie her up.
Thank you.
A Bible was put next to her.
Yeah.
Okay. To me, that shows whoever did it was showing remorse. Okay. Was the Bible and the ropes, were they fingerprinted? Were they dusted for prints?
Not that we know
of,
brought
in?
Not that we know
exactly.
of. Jimmy Thunder from Parts Unknown. I know this guy here, Mike.
Yes.
Jimmy Thunder said, here's an interesting, Michael, I want you to take this one. Jimmy Thunder. I know Jimmy. He's from New Zealand. He's one of our loyal listeners down in New Zealand. Jimmy says, by the way, Jimmy, I love you, brother. It's been a long time since we talked. He could have known too much. Vince could have had him clipped. Michael, you and I, how long ago, Mike, did you and I say that?
Earlier today.
We've
been discussing the aspect of it for years.
I didn't even ask you that.
That's the answer I wanted. That's the answer I wanted. We've been talking about this for years.
And I asked you that yesterday before when we were talking about today's show. I asked you that last night.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing, though, guys, and I'm going to throw it back to Murph. He's absolutely right. There was never any finger dusting,
Nothing.
never fingerprint done. There was no crime scene investigation photographs released. Plenty were taken, but none were released. I'm going to show you photographs tonight from the Fayette County Sheriff's Office. Guess what? They were taken after the place was cleaned up. Okay? This ought to tell you volumes, okay? Volumes, because Mike Murphy knows I showed photographs of the crime scene when it happened. You cannot find those photos anymore, Michael, on the internet. They've all been scrubbed. They've been scrubbed from the internet. You type in or you do a search, Yahoo, Google, Bing, DuckDuckGo, any search engine you want. Chris Benoit crime scene photos. You know what you're going to get? You're going to get pictures of Chris and Nancy and Daniel hugging each other and family pictures. You're not going to get crime scene photos. Okay? You're not going to get them.
I'd like to answer JT Thunder's one question about Vince possibly being involved with it. And that is one thing they found at the Benoit residence was a huge amount of steroids, more than one person could use for themselves. I personally think Chris was distributing for Vince McMahon.
Here's an interesting point.
Yeah.
John Vicks in our chat room. John, that's a great question. Who wants to take this one? The cell phones that the texts were from Nancy's phone and Benoit's phone, but still to this day, those phones have not been found. Here's the question I have, and whoever wants to take it. Who's got the phones? Where are they? Where are they?
What I'd like to ask is, what were the texts?
Oh,
you don't know? Okay.
No, this is a new one to me.
That one was see that Nancy and Daniel were sick. They had food poisoning, so he wasn't able to make the wrestling that night. He told Chavo.
Oh, okay.
That one.
Okay, no, you're right. I remember that now.
Mm-hmm. And so Chavo says, okay, that's okay, man. Let me know if you need anything. And then he said, Chavo, I love you. And that was kind of weird for him to say to Chavo. That was the other one.
Well, it was weird for him to say to Chavo, but not weird for him to say to Eddie.
Yeah, to Eddie. And so
he and Eddie were like, two peas in a pod.
And then supposedly Chavo called called Chris at first, but it didn't get an answer. That's when he tried to supposedly said he called him, but there was no where's the records that there was a phone calls? Where's the records where the text messages were from? None of that's been even found out, or you could call the cell phone company, get those records. None of that was even brought up as well.
Yeah,
that was even existed. That's all.
I'm going to handle the chat room tonight. Our new friend Dazzy Too Jazzy, Michael. I want you to take this one. When the police first went to the house. When the police first went to the house to do the welfare check, when they saw the dogs, why didn't they call for the dog handler instead of letting the neighbors go in and disturb a crime scene?
Okay, the answer for that is, first off, my ex-wife was SPCA.
Michael, should we mention Jim Bob and Billy Bob? And
No. My ex-wife was an SPCA dog handler, and she would go to like the fighting rings and pick up animals and stuff. Reason they probably let the neighbor in to handle the animals is because, first off, the sheriffs are in uniform. They don't know the dogs. The neighbor does know the dogs. The neighbor's going to recognize the dogs. They're going to be calmer with the neighbor that they're going to be with, police officers. So, and if they were outside, I don't think there was too much evidence outside that could have been disturbed.
No, you're absolutely right. It's factual that dogs know their surroundings a lot better than most people do.
Right.
Dogs are less aggressive with neighbors than they are with strangers. A dog handler walking into that situation would have been very aggressive.
Yes.
Because here's the thought process of the dog. You're disturbing my turf. This is my, I piss here. You don't.
Right.
Right. Exactly.
Exactly. And Murphy's absolutely right. Go ahead, Amelia.
No,
Again, I'm going to handle my job tonight here is going to be simple. I'm going to handle the commercials. I'm going to handle the chat room. And speaking of commercials,
yes,
we are up against our first break. We'll be right back after this, folks.
Step 1, train the people only to consume. Step 2, infiltrate adults with the news. Step 3, indoctrinate the children through the schools and the music and the apps on the phones that they use. Step 4, separate the right from the left. Step 5, separate the white from the black. Step 6, separate the rich from the poor. Use religion and equality to separate them more. Step 7, fabricate a problem, made a lie. Step 8, put it on the news every night. Step 9, when people start to fight and divide, take control. This is called situational design.
We are back with Ring the Bell, your hostess with the mostest from coastest to coastest, Amelia the Pitbull Chapman, and Michael Armageddon Murphy. And Michael, you were up when last we left off, young man.
Oh, sorry, I was just getting into the music.
Yes, we're hoping to have him on the show very soon one day.
One of these days.
I was getting my boogie on.
Now keep your boogie off of me, brother.
Well, in the words of our truth, my bad. That one's on me.
You fucking loon. Let's talk about this serious. Here's I got a question for you. You know who Bill Apter is? Because Amelia, she's a young kitten here. She doesn't know who Bill Apter is. I've got a question for you, Mike. Why would Bill Apter, with as much experience and as long as he's been around the wrestling business for some 65 years, why would he indicate that he believes the Benoit case to be a mafia hit? Now, he used that word. He said a mafia hit, a mob hit. Excuse me. He used the word mob, a mob hit. What would be in it for the mob that you think Chris was?
Mostly to the outside eye, it may look like that. The only problem with that is, be it motorcycle gangs, mafia, yakuza, whatever, there's one rule they all follow. No women, no children.
Kids. Yep.
So,
That's
but to the outside eye, yeah, it may look like like a mafia hit. So,
has anyone ever investigated CM Punk? When Chris was a no-show, Punk was placed in the match and given that belt. That's an interesting comment, Leon, but as we like to say, Mike Murphy and I like to say, it's all a work. But certainly the death of Chris Benoit was not a work. But let's Mike.
No, unfortunately, no, that's not a work.
Yeah,
Three people lost their lives that night.
Exactly. Amelia. So talk to me. Where is your thought process on all of this? You've got a lot of information in front of you. I'm sure you read a lot. I know you fairly well. I know that you read voraciously. By the way, thank you for the show last night. Mark Sotkin was
Yes.
here. Great show. You did a heck of a job. I'm very proud of you. Got to give you kudos on
Well,
that.
thank you. He
Yeah,
was
give
very
him a
fun.
applause.
I think we made him open up a lot more than normal.
After 7 times with us, you think he'd be comfortable? Yeah, right.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, he got very comfortable last night.
Very good.
So let's talk about Chris Benoit. Where are you on this whole thing? I never really got to ask you this.
Well, I mean, after seeing all the shows that you've done and everything like that, because it also brought up to my attention that I wanted to do the show again because I've done one with you about this and we didn't really get to do a lot because the other one was more of a friend knowing him, but I wanted to get into deeper because I feel that if it was a mob hit, it could have been something that he was maybe forced to do, but then he didn't want to do it. So maybe he stayed downstairs while it happened upstairs. He didn't know what was going to happen to his family. But I have a feeling that there was two people involved, somebody that Nancy knew very well, but of course took care of the son first, and somebody that the son trusted. I have a feeling, and I'm going to say it right now. I have a feeling that it was the Guerreros that had something to do with this.
I believe that, and I've said it. I said, and I'm going to say it again. I think Chavo Guerrero was directly involved, and it would not surprise me to find that all roads lead to Guerrero.
I have a feeling Vicky had a lot to do with it as well.
Can you do me a favor?
Yes.
Because I'm going to call you on this.
Mm-hmm.
You said that previously to me, privately.
Right.
I shared that with Mike Murphy. Michael, would you lay out your scenario, please, that you did with me on the phone, you and Amelia? I want to hear you guys talk about this.
Okay, if Chavo and Vicky Guerrero were involved, going to the house. The Guerrero family and the Benoit family, very close. Seeing as how Eddie and Chris traveled together, worked out together, had matches together, they became very close. In the wrestling business, you build up very, very close friendships. There's still some guys that I used to work with and fight with in the ring that I'm still very close to.
Sure.
It was also rumored that maybe Eddie and Chris had a relationship that was more than friendship.
Mm-hmm. A bromance, if you will.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, first off, if Eddie or if Chavo and Vicky went to the house, well, they were close to the family, so of course they're going to be let in.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
In a family like the Guerreros, where there was a lot of lucha libre, okay, there were lucha libre wrestlers, high flying stunts. That is taken. The lucha libre style of wrestling in Mexico is taken very seriously. It's almost like the Super Bowl soccer. It's almost religious.
Very serious. Very serious.
To have a wrestler come that's well known in WWE and the lucha libre circles, if it were to be known that he was having a bromance, if you will, that would bring dishonor to the Guerrero family. Just like if a lucha libre wrestler loses his mask, that's a dishonor.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Here's the thing, though, Mike.
Is it possible?
Here's the, and I'm sorry to interrupt, Mike, but here's the thing that people need to understand: when you're on the road 300 plus days a year, and you're rooming with the same people all the time, you build up very close relationships.
Yes.
We know that Chris and Eddie used to sit on the floor every night after the matches and pray. It's very, very easy for me to believe that they had some extracurricular relationship. I don't have a problem in the world believing it. I don't have a problem in the world accepting it, because what two people do is their business. And it's none of mine. The problem I have is chastising a guy or killing a guy based on what he feels. If he felt love for one another, that's between them. It doesn't mean that he loves his wife any less. You know?
Right.
I mean, you
And
understand what I'm
again,
saying?
this is all speculation.
Exactly, and that's why I said at the beginning of the show, we're going to speculate, but if we can prove something, that's even better. But until then, it's just speculation, but we're allowed to speculate because that's what we do.
Yes.
Because we speculate with an educated eye.
Right, exactly. And that's why, being the Mexican in me too, because a lot of Mexicans are Catholic, and Catholic, you have Bibles. And that's where the Bibles, to me, fit into each of the bodies.
And that's why, and thank you, Amelia, for making the case that me and Mike Murphy made ages ago.
Right.
They were devout Catholics.
Yes.
Okay. Chris Benoit had a serious problem of faith. The reason he trusted and loved Eddie Guerrero so much is because he admired Eddie's belief in God and faith in Jesus. Okay? You're going to see documents tonight that prove that Chris Benoit told his pastor that he was losing faith in God, that he felt conflicted.
Right.
Because he was reading materials about Elijah, the prophet Elijah, the Islam prophet. Elijah Muhammad is the prophet of Islam. I got no problem in the world with the prophet of Islam, Elijah Muhammad. No problem at all. It's your religion, worship the way you want.
Right.
It's not mine, but hey, I'm not going to knock you for doing what you're doing. You may not believe in Jesus, but guess what? Doesn't mean I have to stop believing in Jesus.
Absolutely.
All right, I'll shut up now. Go ahead, Murph.
No. But just really quickly, though, if you do lose your faith or want to find your way again, we have the Pastor Steve, the Rowdy Rev, that you can always turn to. I want to give him a little spotlight.
Holy shit. Look at this, Murphy. Look at this. Yeah, boy. Read that, Amelia.
What's it say? I have my glasses.
Faz Gooner, whoever you are, welcome. You're a first timer here, I could tell, because I've never seen a Faz Gooner here before, but I like the name, so stay with it and keep coming back. The video game SmackDown vs. Raw 2007 was Chris Benoit's final game. In the game storyline, they make Chris disappear for a week.
What?
And The Undertaker in the game predicts Chris's fate and his family. Interesting, is it not? That to me is more than coincidental. That's a little more than coincidental. What do you say?
Yeah, especially when did they create that game?
Or am I making too much of it, Murph?
Not at all.
Well, for one thing I know, if something like, I think that's coincidence. I think that might be coincidence, because if something like that were to happen, I believe Mark Calloway would have said something to it. You
would think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Amelia, where you stand on that one?
Well, it depends. I mean, if the game usually takes a year or so to make, doesn't it, for it to come out or so?
All right, let's talk about this one since somebody brought up the Kevin Sullivan angle. During the mid-'90s, when Benoit was married, Sullivan booked a wrestling angle with Benoit where in the storyline he started an affair with Nancy. But the on-screen romance developed into a full-screen, off-ring romance between Nancy and Chris. So we're going to talk about this because I got a serious question here. Serious straight shoot question. They fell into a real life romance, and the two eventually divorced their respective spouses and got together as a couple, which is ironic, being that Nancy Benoit's ex-husband Sullivan booked the original wrestling angle. So let's take that one first. Okay, Murph, you and I have talked about this angle ad nauseum. Okay.
Well, from what I remember of it, Kevin Sullivan was doing the booking at the time and a lot of the writing.
Yep.
And again, like you said, he wrote an angle where Nancy, or woman, was head of, I believe it was called the corporation.
Yes.
And they wanted to bring Chris Benoit into the corporation. And like I mean, and I've seen it happen in wrestling where you travel together. You know, you've got to keep kayfabe going when you leave the arena. So they walk out together and all. They travel together. Yeah. Something like that happening. Okay, not really surprising. It was said that Kevin Sullivan, after all this, did say to Chris Benoit, one of these days you're going to pay for what you did. But now I think there was already, before these two had come together in the storyline, I think there was already trouble in the Sullivan marriage.
Oh, there was big trouble, brother. Let me tell you something. There was big trouble in River City. Here's the thing.
Yeah, she was looking to get out.
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah. Here, listen to the rest of the story. Nancy Benoit eventually left wrestling, but Chris continued to make progress in his career. He eventually won a world title in WCW. By the way, it was Kevin Sullivan that put the title on him. Then he left for WWE in 2000. Around that time, Nancy and Chris got married and had their son, Daniel. Chris's career continued to ascend during that time in WWE, as he eventually won the world title at WrestleMania 20. Here's the question. If a guy is going to put that belt on you amidst that angle, Murph and Amelia, if Kevin Sullivan is going to write that angle, and he knows this is his wife we're talking about, she went by the name Robin Green at the time, woman. Remember?
Yes, I remember woman.
Okay, Robin Green, woman. At the time, no one had any inkling that Nancy and Chris were ever even attracted to each other. But if you force them enough to be with each other and hug and kiss and make out, brother, you're brewing trouble in front of a national audience. But by the same token, Murph, Kevin Sullivan put the world strap on him. Is that the action of a guy that's jealous? Or was he trying to get rid of Nancy? As I think.
Yeah, I think maybe it was, because like I said, there was already trouble in paradise going on there.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Here's another interesting point, Murph, from the chat room. The year before in the game, it was Eddie in the game. The same game. A year before, it was Eddie.
Right. Oh, my goodness. Eddie was in the game.
Right?
Wow.
Here's another one, dedicated to the grind. One thing I read is that still makes me question everything is where Benoit's body was found. Thank you for saying that, because I have a problem with that. You're going to see a picture of Chris Benoit deceased. And I will tell you, ladies and gentlemen, he is not on a weight machine. He is dead in bed. And this is from the Fayette County Sheriff's Department Coroner's Office. Supposedly, police changed their statement several times about where they found him. You're absolutely right, and we have the documents tonight to prove it. So dedicated to the grind, you must have been spying on me today. God bless you, because everything you said is absolutely on target, on point. You're going to see it tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you guys want to question that one? You want to take a stab at it? Amelia, you take this one. Take it, Mil.
Okay. Let's see. Let me put my glasses back on so I can read that again. Let's see.
Go ahead. Keep your glasses on if you need to.
Okay. Yeah, I believe the same thing, that the police did change their mind, because like a lot of people say that, where his body was found was where the weight machine, but then a lot of people say, well, bedroom. Okay. But the pictures show a lot of different stuff. So who are we to believe that the body was not moved?
Well, that's a point that's come up before.
Mm-hmm.
That's a point that's come up before, and you would think it would garner an answer, but guess what?
Right.
All it did was spark more questions.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That's the problem, Mike Murphy, Armageddon. That's the problem, Michael.
Right.
Go ahead, Murphy.
I have a question. I have a question concerning this.
Mm-hmm.
Chris was very in love with Nancy.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yes, sir.
If you're going to do a murder-suicide, one, you're not going to hang yourself. You're going to, if she's already in bed and you're going to do something, wouldn't it make more sense to take a bunch of sleeping pills, wash it down with a glass of whiskey, and then lay down next to the woman you love?
Wouldn't that make sense? It makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Here's the problem that nobody knows until now. Because, again, this show is called The New Evidence. Here's what we know now. It's going to blow your mind. Are you ready for this?
Go ahead.
Chris Benoit's wife, Nancy, and their son, Daniel. Okay? Nancy and Daniel were dead for at least a week.
Exactly.
Because their bodies were starting to mummify. I'm not making this up, folks. This is real.
Yep. This is what it's called, research right here.
Thank you. I have the same papers here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We confirmed it because luckily Armageddon's son, who I've known since he was a little boy, his name is Daniel. Well, Daniel happens to be an undertaker. That's what he does.
Oh.
Armageddon called his son Daniel and said, hey, son, how long does it take for a body to mummify?
Mm-hmm.
His son said, about a week.
Yeah.
How long's rigor mortis take to set in? Couple hours.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's your confirmation. Here's the problem. It doesn't take 2 days to kill somebody.
No.
Okay? Especially if you love them, because it's a crime of passion. Number one. Number two, somebody killed those two knowing that they were alone. Chris was on the road. Something that's never been revealed until today. Now, he was on the road. He came back home and found his wife and child dead. And I believe, and Mike Murphy believes this too, we think he walked in on the crime scene and was killed when he got home.
They were waiting for him.
And made to look like a suicide.
Yes.
Who can do that and get away with it? I'll give you some suspects. The mafia, a powerful guy with a lot of money in Stamford, Connecticut, a police organization can get away with that. Who else can get away with it? Somebody who knows you can get away with it.
Exactly.
Michael Murphy, take it.
Yes, sir.
Take this question, Murph. Here we go. Take this question. I got a question for you. Here you go. Oh, here you go. Janice G has a very interesting thought, Mike. Maybe he found out his son wasn't his.
No.
How
the kid
about
looks
this?
just like him.
Biz.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Yeah, he does look a lot like him.
Nunya Biz says the video of him talking about receiving hundreds of pills was directed at Nancy, I believe. You're absolutely right. They were both in criminal trouble for drugs. You're absolutely right about that. Nancy Benoit was being summoned and subpoenaed and sued by the state of Georgia. Also, simultaneously, she was being sued by Delta Airlines for trafficking in what did they say? It was some sort of a contraband.
Contraband.
But she did it more than once. So it was considered trafficking. The state of Georgia was investigating her for Ponzi scheme crimes, financial crimes. She was trying to sucker people out of money, a lot of it. Here's what I believe, and I've said this before, but I'm going to be very specific, and then you guys can have at it. I think Chris Benoit was in trouble. I think that he didn't know how much trouble he was really in. I don't think he knew how much trouble his wife was really in. Okay? Why take out the little boy, especially when he was sleeping? You killed the mom.
He was a witness.
Well, he was supposed to be sleeping.
He could wake up.
If you kill his mother and he's sleeping, he's going to wake up to a dead mom.
He could wake up to any noise and wake up to her dead. Yes, exactly.
So if anybody does that, who are they going to get? It's a 6-year-old kid. He's going to cry until his father gets home.
Mm-hmm. Or run to a neighbor's house.
Yes.
Nettie Slavy. I love that name, Nettie Slavy. I found your podcast a few days ago because of your interview with Sage Quay in the beginning of the... Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much. And you're absolutely right. The virus was a hoax, and it still is a hoax. And it's all bullshit. And Amelia and I and Mike have done shows about that, both together and separately. We're not finished with that one. Here you go. I remember a girl, Purple Sky, ran through the police reports, and she noted many inconsistencies. Yes, I know who you're talking about. I've seen her stuff. Pillman, Guerrero, and Benoit all died before they were set to win title belts. Strange coincidence, but this may not be as important. Here we go. But this may not be as important. But it's interesting. What do you think, Murph? Pillman, Guerrero, and Benoit all died before they received title belts. But also, hold on a second. Chris Benoit did win the belt and then died. It's true with Guerrero and Benoit. They passed away before winning belts. But don't forget, Eddie was also world champion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Eddie was also world champion. Yeah. Ganesh says, look into human sacrifice of the occult. Mac Miller was found dead in a praying position too, like supposedly Chris was in bed and not hanging. You're going to see a picture, a very interesting picture. It's Chris Benoit after life in the deceased state. He's not hanging as police say he was on a weight machine. Michael Murphy and I already blew that theory out the window. That never happened, folks.
No.
That never happened. You could forget the weight machine. Michael and I already blew that one out the water. That didn't happen. Your post about Elvis, John Bonet, and Hollywood clones were interesting. And the one about Paul McCartney in the book about I know them. So do I. Mary Ann and Ann Walsh. Good people. I like them too. They're good. And I haven't seen them in a long time. If you see them, tell them to get their asses back to What's the Buzz.
Right.
Isn't CM Punk and Kevin have the same birthday? I don't know. It's an interesting question. Amelia, do you know that answer?
Not that I know of, but it would be interesting.
Mike Murphy, here's one for you. Dedicated to the grind says, hey, by the way, the most important fact is if Benoit had a brain of an 80-year-old guy with Alzheimer's, how would he text all of those messages to Chavo? Whole thing doesn't make sense. Dedicated to the grind. Murphy and I have been talking about that for years. Not for days, not for weeks, not even for months. We've been talking about this for 10, 12 years, okay? And it ain't going away.
No.
Okay,
No,
Lord
not at all.
Nikon.
No.
I like this one. Who would be the first time that the mob killed a wrestler? Yes, Dino Bravo. Here's the thing interesting about Dino Bravo. Dino Bravo's uncle had him killed. You hear what I'm saying to you?
That's horrible.
Go ahead, Murphy.
Okay, here's something else interesting about that.
Yeah.
Dino Bravo killed by the Canadian mob. Where's Chris Benoit from?
Canada. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Where's Brian Pillman from? Canada.
Canada.
Yeah.
Born and raised in Canada. Here's what
and they
I
all
believe.
trained at the same gym.
And I believe
they all came out of Stu Hart's gym.
No one will ever convince me. No one will ever convince me that this was a murder-suicide. It was a murder, all right. It was a mob hit.
Absolutely.
I believe it was a mob hit. Somebody knew his schedule. They knew when he was leaving. They knew when he was coming back, and they waited for him to come back. Kobe Tom Brady said Kevin did it. Chris stole his woman. I don't believe that. I don't believe that for one moment. Nettie Slabby said viruses do not exist. I figured out January 20. Oh, you're talking about that. Okay. Okay. We'll talk about that on another show, not on the rest of the show. Chris was due to beat CM Punk for the ECW World Title the night of the pay-per-view. John Morrison deputized for the match. I'm sorry, that's disputed. Deputized for the match. I don't know the story. I live in Japan. All right, Nettie Slabby. Well, thank you for being here and come back. We love you.
Yes, absolutely.
Who wants to take this one? All of those messages, at least the ones the police let us see, seemed like messages of someone trying to impersonate a suicidal person. We said that.
Yes.
We said that.
Yeah.
I don't believe for a minute that Chris had access to that text.
No.
They said he barely knew how to text.
Yeah, and
Chris wasn't a texter. He was this kind of guy. Give me the phone. And guess what, folks? He didn't have like a regular, like an iPhone.
It was a flip phone, wasn't it?
He had a flip. He had a flip. It doesn't text. Well, it does, but you got to really like
press the letter 3 times, and the text messages could have been coming from the home too. We don't know that. Somebody could have been inside the house texting.
I said that. I just said that. I think somebody was there waiting for him.
Yeah.
I said it before.
Yeah.
Why are you going to put the dogs outside?
Exactly.
What's to gain by putting the dogs outside?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
No.
So much in this case, Mike Murphy, Amelia, Pitbull Chapman, doesn't make sense to me. It does not jive, like Mike says. No. All right, now I have to do this, and then I'm going to come back, and we're going to see some video. Before we do that, let me just say that the opinions expressed on the show are that of the host and the guests and do not necessarily reflect WWTF Radio, What's the Buzz podcast, its management or its affiliates. It does not represent Spotify, Stitcher. It does not represent Podbean, iHeartRadio, or Amazon Music in any way, shape, or form. It is their opinion and their opinions only. Having said that, we'll be right back after this.
Jess wanted to start a business when something surprising happened.
Today, I'm going to teach you how to crochet.
She started crocheting, like a lot. And her friends noticed.
Jess, you need to sell those.
So she signed up for Shopify and started building her business.
Yes, I love that.
And after a lot of hard work, this happened.
Oh my gosh, I just made my first sale!
You see, every day, hundreds of businesses get their first sale on Shopify.
We got dings!
And the next could be you. So when you're ready to bring your idea to life
And become your own boss.
build it on Shopify.
Do you have sweaty balls or volleyball netty balls? It's time to make them ready balls. The Manscaped.com Lawnmower 3.0 will do the job and clean your knob with its patented no-nick head, so your head will function as desired. Enter promo code Wrestling Future for a generous 20% discount. That's enter Wrestling Future for a 20% discount. Manscaped.com and Wrestling with the Future, going balls to the walls with Manscaped.com and the Lawnmower 3.0. Your balls will thank you, and so will we. And we are back with What's the Buzz presents Ring the Bell with Amelia Pitbull Chapman.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back.
Hold on, I caught Murphy doing something. What the hell are you doing, Mom?
Oh, my God. That commercial. Oh, my God.
Nothing.
Nothing.
I wasn't doing nothing.
I wouldn't do nothing.
Hey, we're live on the air.
nobody done
Don't do that right now. Do that in your privacy of your bathroom now.
Funny. All right, well, we have to take a look here at some video.
Yes.
So, here we go. Before we do that, let me get the Matthew Baxter, as an ex-law enforcement officer. By the way, Mr. Baxter, Mr. Armageddon, Mike Murphy, his brother is a retired police detective, right, Michael?
No, he was a retired lieutenant with the state police.
State police. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, state police.
Mm-hmm.
Let me remind you all, law officers do not and are not obligated to tell the public the truth.
Huh.
Oh, let me read that again. Law enforcement officers are not obligated to tell the truth? Really? So cops can get away with fucking lying, them pieces of shit? Really?
Wow.
No wonder we fucking hate cops. Jesus. Wow.
Well,
you know what? I gotta. I have. Hold on a minute. Wait. Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute.
Hold on.
I gotta give Matthew Baxter kudos. I'm gonna tell you why. Because that law enforcement officer told the truth.
Exactly what I was gonna say. He told the truth. Pat on the
You
back.
can stay now, Mr. Baxter. You can stay.
He ought to be a guest on our show.
You know what? That's a
On
great
What's the
idea.
Buzz?
We should have Mr. Baxter as a guest sometime. That's not a bad idea. All right, so I have to do this, folks. It's a little graphic.
Yes.
In some spots, it's a little graphic.
So if you're a weak stomach, I would recommend not watching this next part.
Yeah. Well, you may want to consider. Yeah. Let's take a look. All right, we're going to go over some of this here. This is, of course, you see the first photo here is Chris Benoit. It says, "I'm your poppy." I'm your poppy. Standing next to Chris Benoit is Chavo Guerrero.
Right.
Standing to the other side of Chris Benoit is Paul Levesque, Hunter Hearst Helmsley. You're looking at a bunch of very somber men, but look at the face on Chris Benoit. He is visibly far more upset than everyone else in that picture, including Eddie Guerrero's uncle, Chavo Guerrero. Next picture. Everyone was led to believe that Chris Benoit's office was a mess. I want you to look at that, Mike Murphy. It says police photo. That photo came from the Fayette County Sheriff's Department. That office doesn't look like a mess to me. It looks like it's in pristine shape.
Agreed.
Yeah, like a just regular, normal, workable office.
Exactly. It's a workable office. It's exactly what it is. This is the same room where the office is. It's on the other side. Okay? It's, you know how a house has like that A-frame, they build an attic?
Yes.
That's what they did there. They put a bedroom and an office upstairs. This is Chris and Nancy. I don't know if you can see this real well, Murph and Amelia, but Chris Benoit has a pretty nice shiner on his left eye.
Yeah, and on his lip, some kind of.
Well, yeah, he was punched in the face and punched in the mouth.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if it happened in a wrestling match or a fight at home, but you can clearly see that Chris has got a shiner and a busted lip. This photo was at Eddie Guerrero's funeral. There's Eddie and Chris celebrating Benoit's win. This is where the rubber meets the road, folks. Family secrets. A son's mystery. A son's health mystery. A rocky marriage. A looming drug scandal inside the wrestler's troubled world. Chris Benoit. Let's see what else happened up here. Okay. Again, this is a police crime photo. The television, you can see the television in the background was left on. That's a pool table, billiard table there. There's a bunch of stuff on it. It looks like, scattered whatever. But if you look at the floor and the surroundings, it looks like a pretty sloppy room. It may be a rec room. It may be a kid's room. But clearly it's a mess.
Yeah.
Also, you can see a sneaker on the floor there. Let's see next here. All right. I call this the many faces of the Benoit family. You look at Nancy Benoit, there's Daniel. There's Nancy, Daniel, and Chris. And again, that same picture of Chris and Nancy on the bottom. They look like a very happy, normal family. But looks can be deceiving as we in the world of wrestling. Because sometimes, and Mike Murphy will tell you, sometimes it's hard to tell a work from a shoot.
Yes.
And a lot of wrestlers don't know the difference. That's the scary part. These are photos of the Benoit house. This is Eddie and Chris. Chris Benoit was noted for one thing. He never smiled. He never smiled. He only smiled around Eddie.
Yes.
This should tell you everything you need to know. Do I believe they had a very close relationship? You bet your ass I do.
Especially the way he's looking at Eddie right there. So
exactly. And thank you, Amelia, for pointing that out. All right, here's the other side of that room, that A-frame. You see that desk? That's Chris Benoit's office, where you just remember I showed you the picture of the office. There is that same white desk. There is the same stuff on that desk. There you can see there on the wall to the right, there's a picture, a poster, Mike Murphy, a poster of Chris Benoit in his office. Okay.
Wait, stop.
Go ahead.
That sitting on the sofa.
Yes.
That's a safe.
Yes, it is. It's a
Yes, I have
Halliburton
one.
safe. To be precise, Mike, it's a Halliburton safe. But yes, you are absolutely right. It's a safe. What do you notice about it?
Okay, well, one, it's open, and two, I keep mine, which I have under my table here. I keep a couple of my guns in it.
Well, that's open. It's unsecured, and nobody knows what's in it. We just don't know.
Yeah, or what was in it.
Okay. For those of you who still believe that Kevin Sullivan had anything to do with the Chris Benoit murder-suicide, let me assure you, I believe Kevin Sullivan wanted out of his marriage. I believe Kevin Sullivan pushed his wife onto Chris Benoit. And I believe he got exactly what he wanted. On top of that, he made Chris Benoit the world heavyweight champion. So you can speculate all you want. I don't believe for 1 minute that Kevin Sullivan had anything to do with the death of Chris Benoit. Here you go. This is Chris Benoit's autopsy. It's hard to read, but let me tell you what's on it.
Okay.
Okay. Cause of death, blunt force trauma. It doesn't say anything, Mike Murphy, about hanging, suffocation, strangulation. It doesn't say anything about that. It says blunt force trauma to the head. Amelia, what do you got?
Well, that just takes suicide right off the table right there. Somebody hit him from the back of the head with something either. Could have been something from that case or something. That's why that case was open.
Let's do this, Murph. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, whatever was in that safe.
Can you hear me now?
Whatever was in that safe, they could have used that as a weapon. Or a bat from.
That's the point we're making. Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm. That's the point we're making. Murphy and I have been talking about this for years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's play doctor for a minute. On the right slide, the purple slide, is a healthy brain tissue. Okay? You see how the membrane, they're called particulate membranes. All right. Look at the left and look at the right. Different shape, different size, different color. Mm-hmm. You're looking at what people say is the brain of an 85-year-old guy with Alzheimer's. Okay? Look at that. Chris Benoit's brain. Look at a healthy brain. I don't know if that had anything to do with it. We can speculate as to whether brain damage was, in fact, a causation here. But I still don't think that, and I'm not a doctor, but I tell you what I'm looking at looks like a guy with a lot of problems psychologically, but more so it looks like a guy with depression. It looks like a guy fighting depression, because you're going to see the next. Here you go. There's the slide right there. Neurofibrillary tangles, NFTs, like those seen below, have been found in patients suffering cognitive and intellectual dysfunction, including major depression. Similar NFTs were found in Chris Benoit. Did wrestling cause his death? Mike Murphy, take that one, please.
No, absolutely not.
Tell me why.
Absolutely not. I don't think wrestling caused his death. I would be very surprised.
Amelia, what's your take?
I don't think so either, because I mean, don't you have to pass a physical to still continue wrestling? And that would be a part of that as well.
Not in all states.
But for the WWE, right? Don't
Only
you have to have?
state athletic commission.
Here's the question we asked today, Murph. Nettie Slabby in the chat room. How can anyone get away with anything except for people above the law? With all the cameras in public, cell phone cameras, TV too. I saw a demonstration of how they can watch even through your smart TV.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. They can do it right through your smart television.
Mm-hmm.
Most people don't know this, but there's cameras in your TV.
Oh, yes.
It doesn't just show you pictures, it takes pictures too.
Mm-hmm.
I know because I have one. Okay?
Right.
You hear
We're
what I'm
also
saying?
going back to 2007.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that technology was available, but not widespread.
Right.
Certainly not widespread. Here you go. Nettie Slimy says, might be hard to believe, but in October of 2021, I realized people have been breaking into my home in Kobe, Japan.
Oh, wow.
We realized then it had been happening for a long time, since at least 2018 for sure. They stole a number of my possessions and moved things, and even had an old sensor installed in one of the bedrooms. The hidden camera is the most despicable thing they have done. Going on for about 15 years now, they added 3 hidden cameras during the hoax, which meant they couldn't see us in, and then it stops off. Okay. Sorry, Nettie, but it stopped off there. A town the size of, here you go, Mike. Mike Murphy today spoke to the Fayette County Sheriff's Department. And the representative for Detective Butler, Major Butler, I should say. Major E. Butler.
No, it was I believe it was Alicia Kendrick, and the detective was Detective Harper.
Harper, I'm sorry, Harper, not Butler. Harper. A town the size
I
of
didn't talk to Detective Harper.
Right. A town the size of Fayetteville doesn't have the resources for a case like that. They did what they were told to do and took the easy way out. You're absolutely right.
Yes.
They took you know why they took the easy way out? Because they got to pay a lot of money from Connecticut to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Brain
damage from getting hit on the head too many times. It's called CTE. You're going to hear about CTE tonight. It's okay. I'm being severely harassed and prosecuted. I'm sorry. Well, you know what, Nettie? We hate to hear that. We really, really do. I hope that you find some relief from that soon. Let's take a look at this. I'm going to skip through some of this stuff because there's just a lot here. There really, really is. There's a lot here. Don't even try to read it all because there's so much. I want to get into just showing you photos. I want to get into the photos here. So you're seeing all the paperwork. All right, here you go. Ladies and gentlemen, you are looking at Chris Benoit, deceased, on his bed. The only thing visible, and I want you to notice it very, very closely. What do you see in that photograph, Michael? That's very out of place.
Blanket. He's got Joker posters up on his wall. And he's alone in bed.
He's in his son's bedroom. What do you notice about that picture?
Enlighten me.
Well, his son's not in there, and he looks like he's sound asleep.
No.
Huh?
There are two little legs sticking out right there.
Okay. I don't see that very well, but
You're looking right at them. You're looking right at them. Those are two legs, two little legs.
are they by his where his arms would be?
Exactly. That's
Okay.
one.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
You see what we're talking about?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see them sticking out now that you mentioned it.
Yep. There's the weight pulley, Murph. Explain to me how you're supposed to hang yourself from this contraption.
It's a physical impossibility.
Thank you. How tall was Chris Benoit?
5'9", I believe.
5'10". You're very close. Yep, you're right there. Look at that weight machine. Does that weight machine look 5'9", 5'10"?
No. He's
got it on the incline bench press, right? That's where it remained.
No, that's for leg working. Like, you put your shoulders up against these pads here.
Yeah, exactly.
And, you push up.
Exactly. Yeah. Look at it. You can't hang yourself on that.
No.
These are photos that the police department took after it was cleaned up. There's nothing obviously out of place.
If you're looking for evidence, wouldn't you have moved all that paper?
That bed looks pretty made to me.
Yeah.
This is Nancy Benoit.
She had a.
Say again, Murph?
One thing I noticed about the picture of the computer.
Yeah.
Computer was still on. Wouldn't they have confiscated that to go through it?
You would think they would, but as they pointed out in the chat room, it's a small police department with very few resources, and they just wanted to put a bow on this thing and be done with it.
And if it was me, I would have gone through all that paperwork, opened that FedEx thing to see what was in it.
They wanted the easy way out. You got to remember something. This is a wealthy, wealthy community. It's the first murder they ever in the history of that town ever had. Never had a murder. It was a gated community. He had a $700,000 house. Everyone who lived near him had money.
Well, get me on the case. I would have opened everything I could in that house and found out what I could have.
When they want something to go away, it's going to go away. This is Nancy Benoit's doll room. This is Nancy Benoit's doll room. Yeah. This is her doll room. If you'll notice, they're all, Amelia, you see, they're all Barbie dolls.
Yeah. It's all
even the costume, the dress costume on the wall is a Barbie costume. It's a Barbie doll costume. And there is the 40-pound weight in question. Okay. Now, Murph, we said 2 40-pound weights. Are you going to tell me that 40-pound weight, that 2 40-pound weights killed this guy? I don't believe it. I don't buy it. It never happened that way.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, we're going to go back to the chat room here. Anyone else in the chat room got something to add to this? Because I'll tell you what, we got a lot of people in the chat tonight.
Can I ask you a question though? Mad Dog, when you first did the show, I saw on the when you did the show, when you did the podcast, why did someone threaten you for doing the podcast in the beginning?
We were threatened a couple of times.
Why was that? I mean, you were just trying to get out the truth.
Because the truth hits close to home. Mike Murphy was on that show with me.
Mm-hmm.
We had a guy on that show, Ricky O.
Mm-hmm.
They call him in the business.
Right.
I'm not going to mention his last name for his privacy's sake. Ricky O. Let's just call him that, right? So Murphy and I been around the business. Ricky's, of course, is a promoter.
Right.
And we had, myself and Dan the Man was on the show. Right. The four of us. When you get too close to the truth for comfort, for some people, they feel threatened, like you're looking at them, like you're looking through them, like you know them. Okay?
Right.
When you become a threat to someone, they become a threat to you. And that's as simple as I can state it. That's what happened. We were threatened for telling the truth. But guess what? I've been threatened a lot on this show. Let me tell you something, you guys. You don't know what I go through with this show. We don't get paid for this show.
No, we don't.
I can't take money for this show, and I'm going to tell you why. The minute I take money for this show, then somebody owns me.
Right.
Nobody owns me. Nobody. That's why I'll say what I want. I'll back it up. And if you don't like it, change the channel or watch another show or turn off the computer or TV or radio, whatever you're listening and watching me on. That's simple. Yeah. The truth is, we've been trying to find out for 61 years who killed John Kennedy.
Right.
We've been trying for almost 20 to find out who killed Chris Benoit. What is it, Murph? 18 years?
18 years now, yes.
18 years?
Yes.
Right?
18 years.
And we still don't know, and we're still talking about it. We still don't know. Go ahead, Murph.
I'd like to say something.
Please.
We've done numerous shows on. We've done numerous shows on this. We've gotten the threats and everything, which means we got to be getting pretty damn close to something.
Oh, absolutely.
I want you to know something. If you're out there and you're watching or you're listening, if you know something about this, come forward.
Let
3
me say
people lost their lives.
Thank you.
Yes.
I appreciate that. I like to bring up John Vicks again. You saw pictures a moment ago. Just to verify what John Vicks is saying, I showed you photographs a moment ago of a trash can loaded with beer cans and alcohol. There was no alcohol in Chris Benoit's system.
No.
But they said they found lots of alcohol in the trash can. We know that for a fact because I just showed you the picture. And the weight machine. Here's the question. Who drank the alcohol? Amelia, take that one.
Well, again, Mexicans like to drink beer. There you go.
There you go.
Viva cerveza.
Yep.
John Vicks, I want John Vicks to listen to me carefully. John, all roads lead to Guerrero.
Yes.
I said it. I'm not going to back down from it. All roads lead to Guerrero. Some Guerrero was involved in this. Somebody made this happen. Or they had a lot of help doing it.
Yes. And if they could go back and do the fingerprints, I know they would have a Guerrero fingerprint in there or two.
I'm reading this, and I said this to Mike Murphy. Some Japanese people have shared pictures of JFK. They said it was staged and not murdered. They said he died at the age of 103 and showed pictures of him even with Trump at some. Okay, I get what you're saying. But let's relate that to the Benoit case.
Mm-hmm.
In the Benoit case, we know it was staged. The scene was staged.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because nothing happened the way the cops said it happened.
Mm-mm.
In fact, everything proves the opposite of what you heard. I'm going to bring him back up here. Where is he? You heard what Matthew Baxter said. As an ex-law enforcement officer, let me remind you all, law officers do not and are not obligated to tell the truth. A cop is telling you it's okay to lie.
Yes.
In fact, I'm going to screenshot that right now because I want to have that as a part of this permanent record.
Yes.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Mr. Matthew Baxter.
And you know that picture that you showed earlier where the shoe was on the floor? I bet you that was staged as well. I don't think that the house was at all like that.
Oh, no, we know
immaculate
it was
house.
We know it. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Matthew Baxter.
Yeah, Baxter, yeah.
I read that question. Is there something you're trying to tell us? Read that question
Matthew
again,
Baxter.
Angela.
Good. That's a very good point.
Hidden in plain sight. There you go.
Mr. Baxter, would you like to say something? You got something you want to say
about this?
Dedicated to the grind has nailed it. And he says he is saying what we have been saying for years. Vince knows for sure what happened. Dark Side of the Ring already exposed Vince has been acting as wrestling mafia boss since the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
We know that. He thinks he's the fucking godfather, this guy. Imagine the things he knows about. By the way.
Or should we say Vince who?
Just to reiterate, in case you're just joining us. Vince McMahon's life is about to go from bad to worse to holy fuck.
Holy crap.
Okay? It's about to go, pardon the pun, folks, but it's about to go into the shitter.
Yeah.
As if you will. Into the shitter, if you will.
Or should we say Vince who? After we...
I said if you will. But I will tell you that incidentally, Brock Lesnar is now being pulled into this in a very profound way, as is John Laurinaitis, as are a yet to be presented former UFC champion. I don't know if we're talking about Brock or another UFC champion. We assume it's Brock because all of his pictures are being taken off the web. His name is being removed from merchandise. He's being taken off the cover of the video game that he was already paid for.
Everything.
And his merch is being stopped for sale.
And there is rumored, and I'm just saying rumored because they're going to be looking into Paul Levesque, which we all know is Triple H next. He's the next one that they're going to
Paul Levesque is definitely the next.
Yes.
And when that happens, and not if it happens, when that happens, there's going to be splaining to do, Lucy, for
very much
for Miss Stephanie and Mr. Paul.
Yes, because they're also
What did they know and when did they know it? Go ahead, Murph.
Exactly.
Since they're deleting, I asked you this before the show, since they're deleting Brock Lesnar from everything, does that mean the Undertaker's 21, his streak is now 21-0?
That's a legitimate question that they're actually asking on Sportskeeda. Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
They're actually saying that. Does that negate the streak? Does that mean that the streak is still the streak?
Yep.
Okay.
And what about the matches that Chris Benoit won to the people that lost against him? Would that make them the winners as well? That would be another one.
You mark my words. At some point, at some point, because Vince McMahon is no longer there.
Right.
I promise you, Chris Benoit will be in the Hall of Fame. I know this.
China.
China definitely
China
needs
already is with DX, but she has not been.
No, I mean by herself.
Yeah, as a solo.
Yes, I was just about to say that. She has been inducted with DX, but not as a single. But she will. I can assure you she will. Even though she did porn, but so did Sonny, Tammy Sitch. So did X-Pac. He's in. And in fact, he's in twice.
Yeah, but she held her own though against all the male wrestlers, and I'm very proud of her.
It's not. No. We're not talking about work, Amelia.
Yeah.
We're not. That's a work. We're not talking about work. We're talking about real shoot life, real life. Okay.
I'll tell you what. I saw Tammy Stitch's porn, and it's great if you're on a diet.
All right.
I know what he means by that.
Yeah, and well, anyway, getting back to like the Chris Benoit case and everything like that we were talking about. I know that that Mad Dog wasn't allowed. Well, it hasn't shown a lot of the pictures that we had seen before, but the pictures that he was.
Can I tell you why?
Sure.
There's a very simple reason. If I show the pictures that I want to show, it's going to open up more questions than answers, and I don't want to open up that rabbit hole just yet.
Right.
Here we go. The occult. They do this to spread negativity. Benoit was loved. Mac Miller was loved. Tupac was loved. The only ones more powerful than the police is the elite, the evil rich. Well, this is possible. I still contend it was the mafia. Macho Man's name might be brought up again if they start talking to Stephanie. Well, maybe not. We already know it's no secret. Yes, I'll say it. Macho Man had an affair with Stephanie McMahon. 18 years old, Stephanie McMahon. We know this.
No.
It's no secret. Oh, yeah, brother. Oh, yeah. She was a good piece of ass, brother. By the way, what do you get when you cross a Bermuda onion and a donkey?
Piece of ass that'll bring tears to your eyes.
I love this man. The telltale signs of the dark, deep state occult Illuminati is foreshadowing an event before it happens, as they did with Benoit. Well, yeah, you're kind of right there, but I think it's much more basic than that. I think they were telling Chris, straighten up and fly right, or you're not going to fly at all.
Exactly.
And I think that's exactly what they did. Well, Amelia, I got one more commercial break, and then you're going to have to tell everybody to go home.
Okay.
All right. We are going to do this public service. And let's see here. Oh, by the way.
Yes.
We're getting cups made, folks.
Oh, yes.
Well, I got two cups to show you. I want your opinion. Tell me which ones you like best. Okay, so do you like the What's the Buzz or the WWTF radio? Which one do you like, Neil?
I like them both. I can't choose.
I know, that's my problem. Murph, which one you like?
I like the WWTF.
Do you? Okay, cool. Cool. All right.
Yeah, because it's hard to choose because I don't want to not keep the other one, but then I like the other one too.
Right. Amelia, tell everybody what's coming up next week.
Okay, be happy to do that. Let's see. Let me get my little book here because I have my erasable pen. Ready?
And then after you do that, we will we'll put a period on the end of this show.
Right. Thank you everybody for coming on the show and talking to us as well. And Michael, thank you for coming on as well.
And just to let everybody know, we will be here every Wednesday night for you.
Mm-hmm.
We were going to do the show once a month. We're going to do it every week because you have responded more than I ever thought was possible.
Yeah, and if you have any show ideas, let us know as well. We'll look into that as well.
If you have any, you're going to see a video, our closing credits. It will have our email address on it. What's the Buzz Popcast at gmail.com. If you've got show ideas, suggestions, anything of a creative nature, if you'd like to be on the show, if you want to come on here with us and talk about Chris Benoit, let us know. As long as you're in the United States, because I can't fly you in from Japan.
Right. Or we don't want to keep you at 2:00 in the morning up.
Exactly. Like our poor friend Michael Paré was in Denmark at 2 a.m. and think, oh my God, this poor guy's he's got to get some sleep.
And he's like, I'm sorry guys, but it's like 2:30 in the morning and I have to get some sleep.
Yeah, we will have actor Michael Paré on.
Mm-hmm.
But go ahead, Amelia. Tell everybody what's coming.
Oh no, that's fine. On February the 12th, we're going to have Todd Lautenberg and his beautiful wife Dolana Opava.
Yep.
They are comedians from here in Florida. I just don't know exactly where here in Florida. So I might be.
I don't think he knows because he's a little goofy in the head, but I like him.
And we're returning guest Ronnie Marmo on February the 13th.
Ronnie Marmo, I love this guy. Great actor.
Oh yeah,
an amazing stage actor, television, film. Mm-hmm. He's been around a long time. Good stuff.
And if also from General Hospital as well, from a soap opera that I used to watch. Yes, I used to watch soap opera.
I woke up at 1:19 a.m. Oh my God, did I keep you up?
Oh no.
It's 10:30 in the morning in Japan, folks.
Oh my goodness!
In case you're keeping tabs,
like
we'll remember that.
Morning.
It's 10:30 a.m. in Japan. Breakfast time.
Mm-hmm.
I like sushi for breakfast.
Oh yeah. And we're going to have them again, Todd and Jolana, again on the 19th.
19th, yes, absolutely.
We're going to have them as returning guests. And then on the 20th, we're going to have Life After Death, The Evidence. So
absolutely.
The Rowdy Rev back.
The Rowdy Rev will be with us. Yes. Mr. Murphy, you got anything to promote? Where can people get a hold of you when they want to talk wrestling?
They want to talk wrestling with me. They can find me on Facebook under Michael Murphy.
Look for the gray-haired guy on a chopper.
Yeah.
He's going to be changing to Michael Armageddon Murphy.
I'm still healing up, going to physical therapy and trying to take care of myself.
It's 9:36 a.m. in Malaysia.
Oh my goodness!
Ganesh is from. We got the whole world is represented tonight.
Is it cold over there in Malaysia?
Wait a minute. Here's what we got in our chat room tonight: Japan, Malaysia, New Zealand, Australia, the United States, Canada, represented in the chat room tonight. That's major. That is remarkable, you guys. Thank you so much. I told people you're not going
to New Zealand.
Oh, yeah, I said New Zealand. Absolutely, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to know if they're watching us in New Zealand. I just want to know if they're watching us from the Shire.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that is. You're going to have to enlighten.
That is a Lord of the Rings reference. It's where the movie was filmed.
Oh, from the Shire. We're the little people, the Frodo and his buddies. Yes. Oh, yeah. I think they filmed it in. I think you can actually visit the Shire, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you got a response.
Yes, is that right, Murph? Yes. They're giving tours.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I know it. I know the Shire.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep.
Well, I'll tell you what, Nettie.
Japan has been cold the last few days.
Yeah, I want Ganesh and Nettie Slabby and dedicated to the grind. I want you to know I so appreciate you to be here. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, everyone,
join
so
us
much.
every week, every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific and Central, 10:30 in Malaysia. Or in Japan.
But
I don't know what time in China. I haven't been there yet.
But you can still listen to us as well on the radio. Just to find your local stations anytime.
WWTF Radio. We are on Amazon Music, Spotify, Stitcher, Pandora. We are on Audible.com.
Yes.
We are on, as I said, Podbean, Spotify, iHeartRadio. Oh God, what was the other one?
Amazon as well. You can find
Amazon, Apple Music. That was the one I was trying.
Apple Music. Yes.
Apple Music. Yeah, we're everywhere, you guys. I mean, we are all over the world. It was surprised our guests the past couple of nights they didn't realize that we had this big an audience.
Yeah.
I thought Lacey J. Dalton was going to fall off her chair.
I want to thank every one of you guys for being here, for listening as well. Thank you guys so much.
And thank you. Subscribe to us, folks.
Yes, please.
Join us each and every week on America's Best Popcast, What's the Buzz, and for Michael Armageddon Murphy, for Amelia the Pitbull Chapman,
take
for
us home.
The Bell. I am Angelo the Mad Dog DeCipio. It's time to take it home.
Take it home.
Ring the bell!